I would go with the thruster. My dad always used to say when he saw someone come up the beach with like a fish or a cod, or he always used to say, "Life is tough enough. You mustn't make it harder. Don't make life harder than it is."
Hey guys, and aloha. It's Mark Sawyer Chu.
And AJ Ellerington.
Together we'll be hosting the Christian Surfers podcast,
where we talk Jesus
and talk with surfers that love Jesus.
Tune in to hear some amazing stories.
Yeah, I love that. Well, we're going to get into that. So welcome to the Christian Surfers Talk Jesus Story podcast. Bianca, we miss you a ton. Haven't seen you for a few years. You haven't changed a bit.
Yeah, nothing different here. Promise.
Oh, well, so that's, the big question in the room is what have you been up to? Brief intro to you real quick. I just wrote something up. Nice and humble, because I know you're so, you just love to keep things to yourself, and you're just so, you're so easygoing with things. And, we talked about, I know it's been a while since you've spoken at a Christian Surfers conference. I think you spoke at the France one. You've probably done several now. I know you've done the national one for South Africa a bunch of times. Summer Olympics was probably the last time I actually saw you online. You were competing and got silver there for South Africa and Tokyo in 2020. And then you were on tour 2013 to 2018 approximately. Was that right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. My notes are probably completely wrong. Like your sister. Right. Well, we're so stoked to reconnect with you. We miss seeing you around. Eric and Sue were just over at our surf house in Lanzarote shaping. And I remember seeing you in South Africa and Hawaii and California and Huntington, San Clemente. And I was like, and then I went to not seeing you for a couple of years because of COVID and all the things that were going on. But, I know you've had some big changes in your life since we saw you last. And we're so stoked to catch up with you. So bye, Donkey. Cool. Thank you again for making time to catch up.
No problem.
So where are you? So are you splitting your time between South Africa and France?
Yeah. So at the moment we're doing a bit of a ping pong across the world. Luckily, it's still in the same time zone, and the traveling time is not so expensive. I think it's about 10 or 11 hours. But we try and spend the summer in South Africa, and then obviously with France being in the opposite hemisphere, we can have a second summer in France. So we're splitting about 4 months France, 8 months South Africa at the moment.
Wow.
But
and is that
much less traveling than what I'm used to, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. You traveled a ton before, and it must be a different pace of life. Are you enjoying that a bit more, or do you miss the travel?
I am. Yeah, no, I don't miss the traveling. Well, especially the lagging your board bag across the terminal. I don't miss that at all. Every time I get on a plane, I feel quite claustrophobic. It brings back a lot of stressful memories. But no, it's good. I've moved on to the next chapter of my life, and I'm not looking back at all. I feel like that season was there for a reason, and it was demanding, and I'm enjoying the fruits of the labor now a bit more. Because it's there's a lot behind the scenes that people don't see that really is emotionally and physically demanding being on the tour. So it was time to move on.
Yeah, well done, Bianca. We're so excited for that new journey that you have with Jesus and family. When you split the time, is that because of swell, or is that because of family between?
Maybe I wish summer to summer is not really chasing any swell. Trying to avoid the swell, I'm thinking. But no, it's
you're going the opposite.
It's because, yeah, exactly, running away from the swell. No, it's mainly because we've got commitments either side during those times specifically. So, but I'm not complaining. I'm sitting like 20 meters from the beach watching the sunset as we speak. So we really are very, very spoiled. And we've got the best of both worlds in every essence. South Africa being a more of a third world country, and then France being a bit more secure. So no, it's been good.
Oh, that sounds amazing, Bianca. Well, make sure you text us a photo after the podcast. And I know it's late your time, and we had some technical difficulties, so we got to get you to bed so you can get up and do the Dawn Patrol tomorrow. Big, I guess, Christian elephant in the room is what have you been up to since retiring and post tour life? And I heard you have an amazing husband that I haven't met, but I love to meet him. So you should bring him to Christian Surfers, so we could all meet him. I've met his brother and his
yeah.
and
there we
your
go.
Sister-in-law. But are you working in both places? Are you guys still running the Safari Surf House in Vic Bay as well?
So what I've been busy with since Tokyo, my family's got an architectural business, so I've been involved in an aspect of property development in South Africa, and then my husband's got commitments with the hotel here, so we're doing a bit of both. He's also planning on building some property and renting it out in South Africa eventually, and then on the more importantly, I've been involved in an NGO in George called Life Community Services. So we got 2 schools, foster care, feeding scheme, the whole deal, up and running for the last 20 years, and I've been more involved with post-COVID, I would say, once I've moved home. So that keeps me busy. It's wonderful to be part of their team, and it's about 5 minutes from my house, but I pop in there weekly and try and help where I can.
Oh, that's awesome, Bianca. You've got such an amazing family. How are your brothers doing? How's Mama Yvette? Are they still all back in South Africa?
Yeah, they're doing really, really well. My older brother lives in Cape Town. He's got 3 kids, so his hands are full, but he's loving it. He's got a wonderful family, and then my younger brother, my mom, and myself, we all live really close by, so we get to see each other really, really often. And everyone's doing really well, really no complaints. Couldn't get better, really.
Awesome. Well, tell Daniel and Swen and Yvette we said hi, and we miss them dearly. Hopefully we'll run in.
Are your family's expanding too, hey Mark?
Yeah, I'm a girl dad. I was wearing the shirt the other day. Dad. That's it. I got to rock it. If I keep going, I know I'm just gonna have like 10 more girls. So we'll see.
Beautiful girls. That's okay.
That's right. I want to know when I can hire Auntie Bianca to come over and coach them. And
babysitting.
Yeah, no,
babysitting.
Just go surf with them. Have you been to Florida? You got. You got to come visit. The sharks here are a little bit smaller than yours in South Africa, but
smaller but more, I would say.
Yeah. There's more
per
of them.
Capita.
Yeah, it's like a shark mega church here. They're just like all out there in the water, worshiping, waiting for us to paddle out. Well, we'd love to have you and your husband anytime. You guys are in town. You guys come stay with us, meet the little girls. And it's interesting since kind of following your career and everything. I think you're the only pro surfer I know that has deleted their social media. And
oh yeah,
it's amazing because it's so countercultural right now to the whole world and how everyone's just kind of consuming their news and their content on social media. And you did like the exact opposite thing. You're like, you know what, guys, I'm just going to get off of this. So like, everyone's like, what's going on with Bianca? Like, nobody knows. We got to call her. Gotta pick up the phone like in the 80s or 90s. Yeah, we got to go to France or South Africa, like search you out somewhere. But what was kind of your reasoning and your rationale for that? Was that to do with like the mental health that you were talking about earlier?
I think the main rationale was obviously having been on social media before and having like financial incentives, etc., to get exposure and I don't know, the whole deal. I saw the other side of it where people with the most followers in reality were the most unhappy. And I just felt like I couldn't sell that lie that having a wonderful life kind of delusion and getting compensated for it. That just felt wrong. So yeah, I just saw like the people with the most following were pretending to be the happiest, but in reality they were extremely sad, which causes kind of vortex into other people seeing their content and thinking, wanting to have their life, but in reality it was so untrue. So yeah, I just and I think there's so much freedom and privacy. I mean, I also just felt uncomfortable like sharing my personal life with people that I didn't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, privacy is a rare commodity these days, and I just felt like it was important to me.
Awesome, thank you, Bianca. So preach it. Come on, someone. People need to hear this stuff because you're not going to hear it anywhere else out there, and it is so real, isn't it? And even for us, it's amazing for marketing, obviously amazing for communications, but there's definitely a dark side to it that a lot of people just ignore or don't talk about, and it's so true because I remember seeing that, and I again, it's related to your career, and there's so much pressure around it nowadays. But there definitely is. It's a double-edged sword. So you made a great decision, I feel, and it takes a lot of courage, I think, to do that. Whereas it's just easy to kind of go along with everyone else and go, hey, you know what, we're just gonna, our life's gonna be based on the 100,000 followers that we have or are trying to get, but deep inside your real life and the brokenness that's there. So that's amazing, Bianca. Good on you for doing that. And I think hopefully that's, will set a precedent example for some other people, because it definitely is, it can get real unhealthy, and hopefully people can kind of get inspired and find that courage to go, you know what, I don't need this in my life. Or I can at least control it.
There's a time and place for it, like you mentioned, with communication, etc. I mean, there's so many good ways you could use it, but I just felt like in the sphere that I was kind of operating in, and it was 99% negative, so I just decided to opt out. But I just remember cringing every time I had to post something because it was so one-dimensional and not really me.
Yeah.
So I think that just that conviction was a good indication that it was not the place to be in. So, but I mean, people use it for good, but no problem with it at all.
Yeah.
I just felt it was the content that was being showed was not a good reflection of what the reality was.
Yeah, I love it, Bianca. You've always worn your heart on your sleeve, and as I was trying to say earlier in the podcast, you're just so down to earth. I got a little tongue tied there, but I remember like even the couple of the surf films early on in your career that I was sharing with a couple on the surf sites that I work for. It was more than just a surf film. Like you were always so cerebral and kind of like your thought process, how you thought about life, how you thought about spirituality, how you thought about relationships and family, and just even kind of like the act of surfing itself. So it doesn't surprise me some of the actions that you've taken in life, and have been just kind of so different from what you typically see out there from people that are in that profession or in the limelight. I know actually I just had my friend bring in this jersey for me because I left it out. I had it. I don't know if you remember this. I bought it, I think, at the U.S. Open one year. I had your mom sign it. I had your brother sign it. And you sign it. But is your last name still the same, or did you change it after you got married?
I have changed it, but I haven't had the courage to go to. In Africa, doing anything administrative takes weeks. So, changing a name or changing an ID or a passport, it's an extensive process. So we've only recently started. So I'm still Buitendag as we stand.
I love it. Well, you could do what Lydia and I did. You could just kind of just combine and double barrel. Yeah, double whammy, hyphenate your last name. Yours, I guess, is already kind of long. So
it's really long.
Depending if your husband has a long French last name.
It's really, really long too. So I think I'm going to have to choose.
I love it. Well, I would just call you, I think, Double B. I remember introducing you in San Clemente at Chaplaincy Christian Surfers fundraiser with Anna Barron, and I was so nervous about pronouncing your last name, and I was like trying to put on a fake Afrikaans accent, and then Roy was on the crowd. I was so nervous, and I think I just called you Mrs. Double B. Please come up. But
there we go. That'll work.
Yeah, and that was probably like the first time I met you, and I think Johann DeFay was there at that event, and I know you guys kind of grew up together. You guys, I think, qualified for the tour around the same time. How does it feel to kind of watch her and see her success? I'm sure you guys keep in touch all the time.
She's doing so well, but I kind of knew the storm was brewing even when I was still on tour. She was putting in so much hard work and dedication. It was just a question of time, and I'm so happy to see her finally get the limelight she so deserves. And yeah, I'm really, really proud of her. We've taken a bit of a separate path in life. I've been in South Africa for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But she's really making me proud, and I cherish all the memories that we have together.
Yeah, I love that moment. I think at the U.S. Open when you were competing in ankle high surf, and you guys had a heat together, and you broadcast national world television. You just paddled over, and I think she won the heat, but you just gave her a big hug, flipped her upside down on the board. Your feet were dangling in the air, and you could just see the genuine love and stoke that you had for your friends and your competitors. And she's just really blessed to, I don't know if she realizes yet, to have you in her life. And so, and I know you've just been
I'm very blessed. I would say I'm more.
Oh, I love it, Bianca. Well, you are just full of grace and truth and love. And so I hope, if anyone hasn't met you, hopefully we can get you back out to another Christian Surfers conference to come out and speak. Nice. You're always going to be family. And we want you to bring your husband. We want you to bring the whole family so we can meet them. I had another question for you is how often do you still talk to Anna?
Anna came to my wedding about 5 months ago, and she spent 2 weeks in South Africa with her husband, and she just sent me a message just before you called, so we keep in touch. And her daughter might come to South Africa for a visit, so I'm super, super excited for that. So we really keeping in touch. And I mean, South Africa and the US is probably the furthest away from each other, but she made the effort in coming, and it meant so much to us. And Chuck was catching a few good waves at J-Bay, so I hope the trip was worthwhile. But I really, really enjoyed having them at home in South Africa.
That's amazing. I know you guys are so close. She, considers you an adopted daughter, and that's so awesome that you had her over at the wedding. And she, same thing. When I think she was the last chaplain that we had, on the women's tour. Christian Surfers obviously still there in and around the lives of people there, but just not in an official capacity. But I know it was really special to be able to kind of travel with her. I think when she retired or stepped down, that was the last year that we actually had an official chaplain. But it was always fun watching you guys hang out together, and just a relationship that you guys had built with all the other girls too.
Surfing communities are not all the same around the world. Often, some of the world's best surf breaks are home to the most disadvantaged communities. We believe in the power of the global surfing community to make positive long-term changes to beach communities around the world. By harnessing the resources of the international surf community, we are able to make a global impact. Using surfing as a platform to connect, Groundswell exists to meet the needs of under-resourced communities and offer tangible hope. Together, Groundswell Aid and our partner projects serve as a way to infuse love and hope within surfing communities.
I've got some fun questions for you in our Holy Spirit lightning round so we can get you off the bed. Here we go. All right. Feel free to pass. Here we go. Twin fin, thruster, quad, single fin, or bonzer. What would be your pick, Bianca?
I would go with the thruster. My dad always used to say, when he saw someone come up the beach with like a fish or a quad, or he always used to say, life is tough enough, you mustn't make it harder. Don't make life harder than it is.
Yeah. So right at the
I remember that, and I've already picked the 3 friends ever since.
Very cool. J-Bay or Rincon?
J-Bay, hands down.
Going with the home
10
court.
times as long. 10 times less people too.
No, very, very true. Very true. We'll keep the secret here. I think there's only like 10 Christian surfers that watch this podcast anyway.
Those 10 are more than welcome to come to J-Bay.
There you go. Shark or killer whale?
Killer whale, because they don't eat humans.
That's true. They're almost scarier, but like I don't think
they're
there's
scarier, but less fatal attacks, I would say.
Very smart. Always calculated in your answers, Bianca. Favorite Bible verse?
Psalm 23 verse 6, it says, "Surely your unfailing love will chase after me every day of my life as I live in the house of the Lord forever." That's my favorite.
I love it. That reminds me of I think before I even met you, actually the first time I met you was Oceanside Supergirl Pro several years back, but I remember seeing these photos of you winning these contests. I think one was in Peru, and you would just always have big scriptures all over your board. And I know a lot of Christian surfers write them, but they usually write them pretty small, but you could not miss yours. You were completely from the nose to tail. And I remember WhatsApping Casey or Roy about you, who do you guys know who this is? And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Bianca. She's awesome." And to this day, every time I see people with scriptures on the board, I always talk about you with them. It's you were just so open about your faith, and I think that's what I always admired and loved about you. So I hope you're still doing that in France, writing it in French for the country.
Can you imagine the amount of spelling mistakes?
I love it. And what is your, outside of Phil Williams, who's been your worst burn or drop in Christian surfers?
Say that again?
Who's dropped in? Who in CS has dropped in or burned you the worst?
I can't think of anyone, to be honest.
Wow, that's a good testimony. Most people say Phil Williams.
Oh yeah, Phil. No, he's too kind. He won't burn me. I think I've burned a couple. I think I might be on the list of someone else's answer to that question, but
people will consider it a blessing, Bianca, if you dropped in or burned them. You'd be like, "Dude, I got baptized by Bianca. She dropped in on me." I got to see her go down the line and rip. So without social media, I guess how do people kind of stay in touch or follow you? Is it carrier pigeon? They just got it. Old-fashioned letters.
A carrier pigeon. No, I think most people have my email that's needed, but I'm disappearing off the face of the earth. But yeah, I think email. I guess most people that know me have my WhatsApp number, so I think that's probably the easiest way to get hold of me. I'm terrible with my phone, so I do apologize if I never reply or reply late. No intent at all.
All good, Bianca. We know how busy you are. Being an amazing wife, and any kids in the conversation for the future?
Not yet. Maybe soon, but not at the moment. No, still trying to raise myself. Never mind a child.
You ain't got plenty of time. In the meantime, you've got my kids. So
there we go. I've got your kids to teach the surfer.
We love it, Bianca. Well, last question for you, and thank you again for making time to catch up with us. And how can Christian surfers be praying for you?
I feel like the people that have been praying for me have over all these years. Like I said, all the fruits of their labor is kind of coming to realization at the moment. I'm really happy in life, lacking absolutely nothing. So all the prayers have really worked. But I would say maybe Yeah, I think I'm covered there. I think maybe my family, my mom's gone through a bit of a health scare, so I would say maybe for
Okay.
my mom. But other than that, I really have been so blessed in the last few years. And yeah, just lucky to have transitioned into the next chapter of life so smoothly. So it's been great.
Awesome. We're so happy for you, Bianca. We can't meet the new family, and we'll be praying for your mama Yvette with her health. And we hope to see you sometime soon, either in South Africa or France, or get you back over here to the next international conference in Carlsbad and San Diego. Otherwise, we will write you an email or an old-fashioned letter. So it was so good to see you, Bianca. Thank you for making time to catch up. We love you and we miss you so much.
Thanks, Mark. Nice to see you
right.
again. Have
God
a nice
bless you,
day.
Dee.
Cheers.
You.
Bye.
Cheers.